All right, y'all, it's your boy Zxous, and we are back with another video. I just came back from the gym. We are halfway of our, I believe this is our 4th week, right? So once we're done this week, we're done. We've been in the gym for a month, so clap it up for your boy. But anyways, I mean, no, I don't think so. I think it's our 3rd week, and then next week's our 4th week. I have to go back and check. Anyways, we're going to be talking about rerolling, because obviously when the anniversary comes around, a lot of new people come into the game, and a lot of old players, I don't know why old players do this, but they find a reason to. A lot of people like to reroll. A lot of people like to start completely fresh, especially people who've been playing for like a month or 2 or 3 and feel like they've just gotten nothing in those last 3 months. A lot of people love to reroll, and I'm not the type of person who's gonna sit here and say do not reroll, because if you're not happy with your account, by all means you could always restart or just quit the game, right? And obviously I don't want nobody quitting the game, because obviously, I mean, if you want to quit because you're not having fun, that's a different story. But reroll. We're going to talk about the characters to aim for. Now, this is not going to be equivalent to like the best characters to have on your account, because there are only a few specific characters I would ever tell someone to reroll for. There's a lot of very good characters in this game, but I would never tell people to reroll for some of these good characters in the game, because rerolling, how I understand rerolling, is like you're going for a character that is going to be the staple on your team until you are able to get to a point where like I am, where I have all the characters, or somebody else is where they have majority of the characters, right? Your first reroll character needs to be a character who can get you through basically all the early game, all the mid game, and even still be very dependable late game, right? So before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe and like. I think we're like 5 or 6 subscribers away from 26.7 thousand, or it's 26.5 thousand, I don't know. And also, if you guys want to get some merch or some cool like Nikke gotcha stuff, clothing wise, gotcha gear is officially out. Soft launch is out, but you guys can go ahead and get you some of that. Links in the description. Now let's talk about the characters that I feel like all players should reroll for. I think the first one is very obvious. This is your best character. You need this character, no questions asked. You need her, right? If you want me to give you the honest to God character to reroll, this is the absolute best character in the game to reroll for, right? The reason why I believe this crown character is the absolute best character to reroll for, it's simply because she is the character in the game that no matter who you have on the team, she will make them do so much more damage. That's why I feel like this character's value in terms of rerolling is just unmatched. I need to claim all this stuff, right? It's just unmatched. You get what I'm saying? It's so simple. You get her, you win. She gives a shield, she has her taunt mechanic, she has invulnerability, she gives attack damage when she gets healed, and Naga's a free character, which is a really good partner for her. She gives an attack buff and reload speed buff to anybody who uses their burst skill, and a reload speed buff and a defensive buff to anybody who doesn't use their burst skill within the burst sequence. And again, she's giving a shield of her final max HP as a defender, and a more attack damage for 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds. And if you have a healer that can heal within 7 seconds, and reapply this, she's going to have constant effects. All this is going to be proc 24/7. There is absolutely no character in the game that can replace Crown right now for the like #1 reroll choice. Crown is your go-to character, right? That's what I believe, at least. Now, for your second option, I would have to probably go with this character right here, and that is going to be Rappy. I think the Elysian overspec Pilgrim Rappy is the second best character you could reroll for. And the reason why I would say she's a very good character you could reroll for is because not only is she the best character in the game currently, but this character does give you access to burst 1s and burst 2. One thing that I experienced through not only my first time playing, but like all my free-to-play accounts that I'm not doing that this anniversary, I can't stick with them clearly, but all the free-to-play journey videos I've done, the biggest issue is that I would either have a very good burst 1 or a very good burst 2 and then no good burst 3s, or I would have very good burst 3s and then no good burst 1s or burst 2s to support you. Now, I feel like we're in an age in Nikke where you don't have to worry too much about your good characters, because again, you do have access to Litter, you do have access to Naga, and you do have access to Alice, and even Privity still, all for free. And these characters are really, really good still, right? So you don't have to worry too much. But this character, not only is she a very powerful burst 3, if not like one of the strongest top 3 burst 3 DPSs in the game, but this character is a phenomenal burst 1 character as well, right? If you don't have a burst 1 and you put this character on your team, she's going to be the burst 1 that gives you access to cooldown cooldown reduction and an attack damage buff. It's only 8% at level 10, which is not too much, but she does give you access to that. Not to mention she does give you an attack buff if you do use her burst 1. And she's still very powerful as burst 1, right? So there's no question this Rappy is absolutely the second best character you could possibly go for when it comes to rerolling. Now for the third character, this one is going to be controversial. I don't feel like it just because it's like, you got to remember who we're talking about here, right? But I would say the third best option to reroll for is Little Mermaid. She's another supporting character, but she's kind of like a mixture of Crown and Rappy in the sense of like, she's a very powerful DPS burst 1 and she has pretty good supports, right? This character has cooldown reduction. This character has fill burst gauge that all allies can help her with. This character gives an attack damage buff. The character has damage taken increased continuously on the target. This character gives attack damage buff again, reloads magazine. This character gives attack to herself, and this character does the craziest damage for a burst 1. This character hits harder than a lot of the burst 3s. That's how crazy this character is. She hits harder than a lot of the burst 3 characters in the game, right? I wouldn't even be surprised if I was to sit down and break it down and did like a top 10 DPS characters in the game if this character made it. That's how powerful this character, Little Mermaid, is, right? So I would say after Rappy, after Crown, if you do get this character and you want to be satisfied with her, she is really good. Remember, both Rappy and Crown and even Little Mermaid are staples for endgame. So these are characters that are going to get you through all of the content, right? Not to mention, one thing that you guys are going to have to deal with as newer players or like re-rolling or whatever is that you still have to do special interception. One of the hardest bosses in special interception is Train. But Train is weak, I believe, to win characters, right? So this character, Little Mermaid, is actually going to be the character that kind of, is that, no, I think that's Modernia. I take that back. That's Modernia. Modernia is weak to win characters. Let me take that back. Either way, it doesn't change the fact this character is a staple, right? Another good thing about this character that's going to be very, very beneficial for a lot of people who do reroll for her is the focus fire. Basically, if you are on Little Mermaid and you control where Little Mermaid attacks, everybody on your team will follow where she attacks. That's a very helpful mechanic because if you go onto other characters, everybody else on your team will shoot wherever they want to shoot, right? But being able to have that control and having everybody focus fire on wherever you want them to hit with Little Mermaid is a very, very good mechanic. She's realistically just a well-rounded character. Like, honestly, it's so hard for me to say who the #1 character is because it's like, it's definitely between Little Mermaid, Rappy, and Crown, right? It's definitely, there's no, like, if you were to say Little Mermaid is the best character in the game, I would not argue with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't even know who I would put in #1 at this point, right? Little Mermaid is just way too valuable, right? But that's my third choice right there. Now, obviously, for the fourth character, this is going to be a character that's like you've seen at this point every single time I've made one of these videos ever since she's released, but Red Hood. Not only is she getting a rerun banner with the anniversary, so if you guys, that's the only reason why she's so low. I mean, realistically, the other 3 characters are still better than her, but you are going to have access to this character's banner. Not only that, you can pity her when the anniversary comes around because she's going to have her own banner, right? But I feel like this character, Red Hood, is still just too good not to reroll for, in the sense of like she's the only burst 1, 2, and 3 character in the game. So basically whatever characters you end up putting won't necessarily matter because this character can get you through all the content, especially early game. This character can get you through everything early game, in the, like, literally anything early game, mid game. This character could take you through all of that. She deletes every special interception boss. She beats every lost sector, every tower stage until you get capped. This character is very, 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 very powerful, right? And again, her burst 1 is crazy. She gives the craziest attack buff to all allies of her attack, and she's an attacker, right? So Red Hood is definitely still a very good option to reroll for. I just feel like it's still, even though she's a very good character and she could solely kind of handle a lot of the early game content by herself, it's still very hard if you don't have like a team that can kind of assist her. I feel like when it comes to Little Mermaid, when it comes to Crown, and when it comes to Rappy, these are characters that you don't necessarily need other people. Like, I feel like with those characters, it wouldn't matter who you have on your, not necessarily it wouldn't matter who you have on your team, but it's more like those characters kind of help your team do its job, regardless of who's on your team, right? If not like actually getting the clear a lot better, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, freaking, let's say Ipeno and Crow were my only DPSs, but I had Litter and a Crown as my burst 1 and my burst 2. My Ipeno and my Crow are going to be able to get the job done, right? With Litter and with Crown, than if I was to have Ipeno and Crow with like Miranda and Naga, for example, right? So yeah, that's just what I meant when I'm talking about those threes. But when it comes to obviously, you know, re-rolling, fourth best pick is going to be this Red Hood. And I think we could do one more, a fifth pick. All right, y'all. So for the fifth pick, there's going to be two characters in here because it's kind of hard for me to say. But these two are characters, and I'm going to explain why they're so low. But obviously, in fifth and sixth, let's just say, it alternates between the two. You can have either Cinderella or Scarlet Black Shadow, right? I feel like these are the two strongest DPS characters in the game. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, Zxous, why didn't you like tell us the reroll for the best DPS is like in general, right? Take it from me, someone who's had multiple free-to-play Journey reruns. I used to aim for these like insane DPSs, but if you don't have the support behind these insane DPSs, they're not going to get the job done, right? Early game, like 2022 content early game, yes, they will. But if you're only like DPS or your only good characters like, you know, Scarlet Black Shadow or Cinderella, and then everybody else on your team is garbage, it's going to be very hard for them to get the job done because everybody on the team is going to die regardless, and these characters are going to survive, right? And the thing about Cinderella and the thing about Scarlet Black Shadow, more Cinderella than Scarlet Black Shadow, is that these characters need their burst skills to be insane, right? These characters are not that crazy without their burst skills. Again, more Cinderella than Scarlet Black Shadow because Scarlet Black Shadow is crazy, right? Regardless if she has a burst skill or not. But with her burst skill, she goes even crazier, right? Cinderella mostly relies on her burst skill, I feel like. I don't want to say mostly because she's not like bad if she doesn't use her burst skill, but like my whole point is like not having Cinderella's burst skill is a major, like it's going to affect her majorly, right? Where not having Scarlet's burst skill is still going to affect her in a big way, but not as major as Cinderella's in my personal opinion, right? So that's the only reason why I have Scarlet Black Shadow and Cinderella at like 5/6. It's just because if you don't have the supports around these characters, it's not going to be that crazy. I do feel like at the end of the day, Crown is your number one pick. If you go for her and then go for the 2 anniversary characters, you're going to have a good time, right? Then I know they're all Pilgrim characters, but of course Pilgrims are the best characters to re-roll for, right? That's just my personal opinion, right? But yeah, I would have Crown at 1, Rappy at 2, Little Mermaid at 3, Red Hood at 4, and then 5 and 6 could be Cinderella or Scarlet Black Shadow, right? But if you don't reroll for those characters, I don't feel like there should be anybody else to reroll for. You could go for like the original broken characters like Modernia or Scarlet, the original Scarlet. But I'm thinking about like being able to guaranteed have these characters who are going to be insanely meta in endgame as well, right? Modernia and Scarlet are characters who are not going to be insanely used or meta in endgame, where Cinderella, Scarlet Black Shadow, Little Mermaid, Crown, and Rappy, Red Hood as well, all these characters are going to be insanely important late game. So having access to them early on is better because you're not guaranteed them after, right? If you re-roll and you guarantee get them off a re-roll, after that you don't have to worry about getting them again. Where again, if you go for like, let's say Uni, let's say you go for or Vesti, let's say you go for the tactical upgrade Vesti, for example, right? And that's who you re-roll and you keep her. You're not guaranteed Crown, you're not guaranteed Little Mermaid. There's people till this day who've been summoning every single day since Crown has dropped and still do not have access to Crown. I've seen so many comments on my channel, people begging for Crown to get a rerun so they could just pity her because they regret not pitying her when she came out because they didn't expect her to be as crazy as she was. I don't know how they did it. That girl was better than the Bunny Girls off rip, and the Bunny Girls were a problem back in the days. So I don't know, but hey, this is my little reroll guide for you guys. There's another video gonna come out tomorrow. I have another video today, but another important video is gonna come out tomorrow for all players. I feel like it's gonna be very helpful because there is like something I don't want people to make a mistake about, and I kind of want people to like remember about it like when I make that video. So stay tuned for that. I do need to set up the live stream. I will be live on Saturday for the live stream. Saturday is when the live stream is happening. I believe it's it's Wednesday, so in 3 days, if we're not including today, we will have the live stream. So yeah, your boy Zxous. Again, thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and like. We need like 5 or 6 or I don't know how much subscribers more to get to 26 point something, but we do need that. And again, if you want to go ahead and get yourself some cool clothing, Nikke related, right? We do have a shirt now that says yes from Rappy's Pillow. If you guys want that shirt or anything in the store that you like, go ahead to gotchawear.com. It will be in the link in the description, or just search up gotchawear.com on your computer and it will take you to the website and in the comments as well. And yeah, it's your boy Zxous. I'm gonna see you guys next one. I'm out. Peace.